Welcome, everyone, to the Cheltenham preview show of the Cheltenham Raw podcast. As usual, it's hosted by myself. And as normal, I have the legend over the pond who hopefully can clear up the rumours that Willie Mullins has just accepted a big parcel of trophy polish ready for Cheltenham. And that's Dave O'Keefe. Dave, how are we?
I'm good, Woodsy. How are you?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. You keeping well?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
good and bad days, but I'm doing okay. You know what I mean? I'm way better than I was. So
yeah, good man. I can see you a bit more perkier now and a bit more happier, which is always happier for me as well to see that. So Cheltenham, what's it now? Just over a week and a half away, isn't it?
yeah, I mean it's blink and you'll miss it now at this stage.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be the Friday at Cheltenham, and we'll be like, fucking hell, like it's gone again for another year. You know, that kind of way.
I know it'll be like a big chunk of my life is missing because the past 4 months or so it's literally just been anti-post Cheltenham. When's Cheltenham coming around? And now it's finally here.
Same, like I probably have done more anti-post this year than I ever done, but it was more on the horses that I was confident are definitely going to turn up, or since the non-runner no bet came on. And
yeah,
you know, I have a lot of, I nearly have all my bets done for day one already, and it's money that I've picked up over the last few weeks. You know, if I've won, I've actually won a few soccer accumulators, so I just kind of use that for my Cheltenham fund. So it's good.
Perfect. I have to say this year, because I'm not new to horse racing or Cheltenham stuff. I've been betting ever since I was 18 in Cheltenham, but I think this year I've actually took it as a normal punter would properly with anti-post and stuff like that. Normally in past years, it would be from January onwards, I'd be getting the Racing Post app and I'll be looking at the form and all that sort of stuff. But this year, actually, there's been like bets all through the year. So I literally have mostly everything covered, apart from probably about 6 races now. Normally the handicap. So yeah, fingers crossed. Now the weights are out, I can get my teeth stuck into some handicaps and get some good winners.
Yeah, I mean, I've been the same this year. I think lockdown has a lot to do with it. I was doing studying and on everything, and I suppose some of the handicaps I didn't go hard on till I knew non-runner no bet, and that's the style I'd be using. I know people would go for 50 to 1s in the summer and hope for the best, but I prefer to get some sort of run for my money, even if it's an anti-post bet. And like if the horse is 20 to 1 and you know you're getting 14 to 1 non-runner no bet, I prefer just to go to 14 to 1 non-runner no bet. I'm not looking to make millions or anything, so you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. I know I've got a few nice each way trebles on there as well, which
nice.
Basically, like all you have to do is the horse to come third, and then you could potentially win quite a bit of money. So yeah, each way trebles on the handicaps are good. So let's crack on with it. Let's get everything sorted and get these people all up to date with our picks and how we are doing the Cheltenham preview show this year. I think we have to start with just to say thank you to everybody that has watched over the past, about 4 or 5 months. I know I'm very grateful that you've took your time out to watch it, and hopefully you can enjoy this preview show that me and Dave are doing now. With this preview show, I've decided to take it down a different angle than the rest because we started off with it Irish versus England. We're going to continue doing that, and we're going to do it as in a little competition. So the competition is going to be like a points-based competition, and here are the points that we can earn. Basically, Dave and myself, we will pick one selection from each race. He will pick an Irish selection and I will pick a British selection. And if that British selection wins, that person will claim 5 points. If it comes in the top 3, they will claim 3 points. If they pick an odds-on favourite, which I think the Irish have quite a lot this year, so be careful, Dave, when picking your odds-on favourites. You could get -5 points for that. And just to spice things up as well, we are doing 3 wild cards. That's when I will pick 3 Irish selections and Dave will pick 3 British selections. And 10 points and 6 points will be accumulated for them. What do you think of this, Dave? Are you excited about the whole point system and little bit
Yeah,
for
I'm looking forward to this. It's a little bit different than what the other podcasts and stuff I did. So, you know what I mean? Some of the selections, I was kind of left with picking an Irish horse, even though I might have wanted an English horse. So it's good. I'm liking this idea. It's a bit of a competition. And
Yeah.
we're going to do a little bit of a forfeit as well, I think, aren't we?
Yes. I thought there's no point having a competition, and not having a forfeit. That's the only way that people want to win a competition, as if they're wanting to win something or if something bad's around the corner. So I'll start first with what I'm going to get Dave to wear if I accumulate the most points and the British win for me over the Cheltenham period. And that is a nice, tight-fitting top with Bryony Frost and Frode on. And I know everybody that watches the finishing line with yourself and the guys on there, who I will have to say, well done, you guys, for a brilliant preview show. Big hats off to you guys for that.
Thank you very much.
I enjoyed it massively. Andrew, Tom, you did yourselves proud on that one. But yes, everybody that watches the finishing line knows the love that Dave has for Bryony Frost. And it's a bit of a love-hate relationship because I know you love the horse, but I just don't think you love the coverage that the British give Bryony, especially when you've got a legend that is Rachel Blackmore over the seas, and maybe she goes a bit under the radar, but maybe she shouldn't, which is a fair enough point I will make. So, come on, Dave, at a scale of 1 to 10, how worried are you that you could face actually wearing a Bryony Frost and Frode on top at the review show?
If 10 has been the most worried, I'm about a 1. I'm positive the Irish are going to win this. So.
That is very positive. Very. I don't know. I don't know if it's that positive, to be honest, because we might grab a few places and we might accumulate the points.
I'll be sending you a big Irish flag to hang up behind you there, and one of those little leprechaun hats with the ginger hair coming out the side of them as well. So you'll be wearing that for the review. So instead of the normal peaked hat that you're wearing.
What about the pot of gold? You bringing that as well?
No chance. You can find that yourself.
I'll try and find that myself as well. I'll wait for a rainbow and I will look see if I can find it. So yes, that is the point system, as you can see on here. And what we're going to do, we're going to try and make this as quick as we can. We know everyone's got their own times and stuff like that, but we'll still get as much content in it as well. So, Dave, I'll start off with yourself, as you are the away team. This is Dave's selections. Dave, please talk us through your selections.
Right, so this is obviously with the competition in mind. This is why I said I enjoyed this, because it made it a little bit more difficult at times, because there is other horses that I liked from England, and I'll mention them as I go along. But for the purpose of the competition, in the Supreme, I picked Appreciated. I think that's fairly obvious. Very hard to find something to going against him, and I think the ones against him are Irish horses anyway.
Yeah.
In the Arkle, I picked an Argamine. I'd say anybody who watches the other shows know how much I like this horse. One of the guys in our group, Dan Starkey, found him last year. I think it was about 50 to 1. He's going to win maiden hurdle, so fair play to him. I think he'll give Shishkin a right good race. The ultimate, you know, Ascaria 10 might go for the 4 miler or the 3 mile 6 race as it is now. And I probably would have sided with an English horse, either Lieutenant Rocco or Remastered. But I didn't want to use a wild card, so I'm hoping Ascaria 10 can run into a place or do the job for us. The champion hurdle, I think everybody knows how much I love Goshen. I put him up on the show as an anti-post bet, and I think Woodsy, you pretty much like Goshen too.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I think if the Goshen from the last day or last year at Cheltenham turns up, he will win. So I used the wild card there.
Fingers crossed.
The Mayor's Hurdle, I know the English have a legitimate contender. Dan Skelton's horse, Roxana, was Concertista for me. I think she's one of the better bets of the whole meeting. The Boodles, which is on the Tuesday now, I went for a Dennis Hogan horse, Safanian, which the English viewers might not know much about. But to me, he's looked like a horse that's been trying to get into the Boodles all year off a low mark, and he's managed to do that. So I think he's a good chance. Yep. And then the longer race to finish Tuesday, again, a hard one because you're kind of unsure what's turning up. And I mean, if Royal Pagoi turns up, he's going to go off a worthy favourite.
Yeah.
But I thought Longhouse Poet would definitely stay, and I like to pick a horse in this race that I know will stay the distance, even if they're not the classiest horse in the race. I think you just have to stay and you have to be tough. I like him, and from the English point of view, and a horse I've backed anti-post is Snow Leopardess. But for the competition, I've gone for Longhouse Poet.
Charlie Longston, I believe, is it? Snow
Leopardess? Yeah.
Yes. Right, I'll just give my quick view on your selections. I think Appreciated is the worthy favourite and will take all the beating. Do you think that he's going to need ground like Classical Dream won on, or do you think he will handle the better ground? Because it looks like there will be good in the name at Cheltenham this year.
I think he'll be all right. I honestly do. I don't think the race is great, so.
Okay, and you got a Nergamine as well. Obviously, this is a race which is definitely hotted up from recent years. When you got Shishkin in this race, and you got All Mankind. He'll go out from the front. You could end up having a battle like the one where Footpad won it when they go off ridiculously. Yeah. But I don't think Paul Will has to make the run in. I think he can just sit in off All Mankind because he will definitely make the run in. So that horse has definitely come out of nowhere. I don't even think we saw it over novice hurdles, to be honest, last year. I can't remember its name at all, and that's the sort of name it would stick in your head if you heard it once. Ascaria 10, is either here or Longhouse Poet. Now under a new trainer, isn't she? Another lady, a lady's got that. I can't remember her name.
Trainer, yeah.
So hopefully, fingers crossed, Gordon can better in and his horses can still be capable of running at Cheltenham and give a good race. Your wildcard selection is Goshen. I know you were very handy all year on Epatante. Any reason why you've gone against Epatante there?
I just think Goshen will have more pace.
Yeah. And obviously, Epatante's race last time out didn't really give people much confidence.
No.
Silver Streak is a good horse and has come third in this race before, but you wouldn't think Silver Streak has the quality to actually win a race like this. So losing to Silver Streak isn't a great prep. You've got Constantista. A lot of people on Twitter are saying that this horse is one of the bankers of the festival. Was it a steering job? You guys say, but to be honest, I'm not 100% sure if she's worth that odds. I haven't seen what she's won at the moment. She's literally just beat the same horses over and over again. So I reckon the price should be a little bit bigger than that, to be honest. And Zoffanine, haven't really seen much of that. I think that's been quite quiet over Ireland, just built itself gradually up there. And Longhouse Poet, I think that's a good horse that can stay. So that is David's selections for day one. And as we go to day two for my selections, here we are. So for the Supreme, I've gone for Nigel Twiston David's Garrel Road at 25-1. It's a bit of a left field shot. I know there's two other horses from Britain that are higher in the mark. You've got Metier, who won a grade 1, and you've got Soaring Glory, who also won a good, strong handicap. But I'm trying to pick up the third space here. I think the Irish will control the first and second. If I had to pick another Irish horse, I would probably go for Blue Lord to be more up with the pace and come home late and strong for the Irish. But for the British, I watched the race at Garrel Road last time. He beat a horse that I backed, one of Paul Nicholls' ones. And I just like the way he plugged on. He didn't look like the easiest ride. Still a bit green. So hopefully maybe he can come on for that road and potentially plug on strong up the hill for the first race. Second race is the Arkle. We don't really need to say much about Shishkin. We all know about him, winner of the Supreme. And I think will be the winner of the Arkle. Hasn't put a foot wrong this year. You could argue that he hasn't really beaten much, but I think that's He's had a very good prep run, and his jumping has been amazing. I do wish that I'd have gone 4-1 at the beginning of the year, because now that seems more of a steal. Race 3 is the ultimate. As you said, Dave, you would have probably gone for an English horse, and the English dominate this race. I think they've won it. I don't think the Irish have won this in like 10 years. So this is definitely a race where you'd pick an English horse, and hopefully by this third race, we will be 2-1 up and we can maintain our lead in the Prestbury Cup. I took 2 selections from the Reynoldstown race a few weeks ago, where Remastered won that race. I think he is a very classy horse. He led from the front, and I think 3 miles is definitely his distance. David Pye does like this race and has won it before, and he's won it twice in a row. One time with Unpoor Temps, is it something like that?
Temps Pour 2.
That's it. Thank you. So I think 14-1. I'll just let you know, all these prices are meant to be the best prices you can out of the whole selection. The main bookmakers is not from a certain selection. So if you think on your bookmakers they're shorter than another bookmakers, it should be about this price. So yeah, I think Remastered. I know he's booked in for the long race, the old 4 miler, but I would plead for David Pipe not to go there, because I don't think he will stay, and I think he's got a bit more class, and I reckon he can win this handicap. I'm also on the Goshen train, so I'll be cheering him on just as much as you. And for the mares, I think Roxana sets the standard in this race. I can't see how Constantisa the price she is and Roxana the price she is. I know she's got an entry in the stayers, and she might shorten when confirmed, but it is basically like Leeds United coming up from the Championship and playing Everton, I would say. That's how I see it. You've got Roxana, who's Everton, who's been there, done it, won stuff at that level, been competitive in that level, and you've got Leeds United who have actually dominated the league below, and they're the best thing coming up, and that's how I see it. So for the prices like that, you know what I mean, Constantine could go on and win this years in a row, just like what was the Willie Mellons horse that won it about 6 years on the trot? Quavega, just like Quavega. But I know Dan Skelton wants to go for this race if there is good in the title of the race course, and I think Roxana will definitely give Constitution a great run. And I would say if you want to pick up maybe third place, Manila Melody could, at a price, come in at third place. And we're going for another Dan Skelton horse, and that's Carabao Cliffs. This has been a very progressive horse this year. One very nice from the front, in front of a very strong Nicky Henderson horse. This is a 20-1, so I'd be very keen on taking that on an each way. And then the last race, I'm going for D Machine, which is a Kerry Lee horse. I like to go a bit left field when I'm picking these. I picked Lord de Mesnil last year, but stalled at putting the money on, and he went from 40s to 12s. So it was bitter when he came around the corner. So I was pretty glad that he didn't win, because I didn't back him, because that would have felt more like a loss, losing that amount of profit. But I think this time, this horse ran in the Reynoldstown, came second. He was more or less upside Remastered, jumping the last 2, but just didn't have the speed after the last to take it from Remastered. And I think Step Up and Trip will definitely suit this horse, and he will definitely stay this sort of trip. So, Dave, that is my selections for day 1. Do you have any thoughts about them?
Yeah, I mean, some of them are obvious: Shishkin, Goshen, Roxana, but I really like. I think Gale Road has an each way chance, and I like that Cabo Cliffs. I think he's a good chance in the Boodles. Good selections.
Thank you very much. You a bit wary day 1? You think you're going to be behind a little bit with those selections?
It could be behind day 1, but we'll bring it back day 2.
We'll bring it back. I'm sure Willie Mons has got some trick up his sleeve with a few handicaps and stuff like that in the next few days.
Absolutely.
Right, so we'll start with you again first. We'll go on to day 2, which is Ladies' Day. And
okay,
please, once again, go ahead and talk to us with your selections, Dave.
Okay, so for the Ballymore, I've gone with Gerhard de Mesnil. I've liked him since December time. two other right good horses in the Brave Man's Game and Bob Ollinger, so that's going to be a super race. But I'd side with Willie's horse. I think could be a superstar. Race 2 was obvious. I think Monkfish will win this. There's no real time spent talking about it. He's beaten everything, so he should beat them again. Just needs to jump around. Race 3. Coral Cup is a hard one. I fancy somebody English again, but for the purpose of the competition, I went with Bacchison. But I'd be wary of Nicky Henderson's horses. There's a horse called Craig Niche. Nicky Henderson's a right good record in it, so watch out for him. Race 4, I could easily pick in Shacken, but I think he'll be odds on, and I do think there's still enough there to not be weighing in heavily. So with the competition in mind, I went for Put the Kettle On. I think she'll run into a place. The cross country, I just don't like the race. I hope the French don't win it. I hope the English or the Irish win it. So I went for Tiger Roll to roll back the years, but it's probably unlikely. The Grand Annual then, it's usually on the Friday, but with the changes now it's on Wednesday. And I went with Embittered, and I put him up on other podcasts earlier on in the year. I think he's a right good chance. He's been running in grade ones, and he's running off the same mark. He was third in the county hurdle over hurdles last year, so right good chance in that. And then in the bumper, I took on the 2 top ones. I think Ireland will win it. Either way, I can't see any of the English horses giving the Irish horses a scare. And I've gone for 3 Stripe Life. Liked his times and how he won the race. I think it was at Nace or somewhere. I gave him a good shout. So that's my day 2.
Okay, I'll just give my little opinion on your selection. Are you worried that a lot of pundits and people in the horse race community are very strong on Bob Ollinger?
No, to be honest.
They are, because I have to say, people are very strong on that horse. And not a lot of people have tipped up Gerhard de Mesnil. I don't know.
It's all about opinions. And look, I think he, out of the 3 of them, has the most speed. So I don't think Willie Mullins would put him against him if he thought he was worried. So
yeah, of course, Willie Mullins is the don of what he does, and he definitely sets the bar when it comes to training national hunt horses. Monkfish, he's been the outstanding horse of the year. You could argue Envoy Allen has, but no, I would say Monkfish is, just because the level of quality that he's beaten. Envoy Allen really hasn't beaten much, to be honest, but Monkfish has beaten the latest exhibition 3 times now, and he is no mug latest exhibition, and especially that last race, he might as well not even turned up. He got beat that much. Is it Bashun? Is it Bashun? Bashun? Bacchison. I do apologise. He's been he's been campaigned very heavily this year. Do you think that maybe he's had a bit too many races? Because I know he raced, I think it was about a week ago as well.
No, I think he's in his best form he's ever been as a 10-year-old. But the only thing is he might keep him for a fairy house maybe. So, but it was an off the cuff one.
Yeah. Cool. Put the kettle on as well for the champion chase. Yeah, I'm basically in the same camp as yourself. I don't think Shakan is as strong as people think. When you're backing a horse, the first thing anybody would say to you is Cheltenham form. And this horse doesn't have any piece of Cheltenham form, so we don't know how he will handle around that track, because it is a specialist track. You don't just turn up from any other track and be good at Cheltenham. Normally, Cheltenham horses are normally good at Cheltenham year on, year round. So put the kettle on. It's a very good shout, maybe to get a 2nd or 3rd place. Tiger Roll, yeah, that's the dream story, isn't it? Tiger Roll to come back and be retired after this race and win it. I'm the same as you. As long as the French don't win, I'm happy. You got Embittered, yeah, very good horse. I know you've mentioned that, and 3 Stripe Life. But unfortunately, I haven't really seen much of 3 Stripe Life to comment on that one. But yeah, that's a very strong hand for that one. Do you think Willie Mullins will be rubbing his hands after day 2?
I really do, to be honest, yeah.
Need his sunglasses on with all the glistening trophies he's got.
He'll have loads of champagne and loads of trophies.
Yeah. Right. I'm going now on to day 2, Ladies' Day, British selections. Have to go with Brave Man's Game for the Ballymore. I think it's going to be the top 3 will come home, top 3. I can't see anything else from left field coming up unless somebody falls or somebody gets taken out. Race 2, which is now the Browns Advisory. I've gone for Sporting John. I was very impressed by the way he stayed on late home last time out, beating the likes of Shamblu on heavy ground. So definitely a step up in trip. Would definitely suit this horse. I can see it probably maybe going like it did last year in the RSA with the 2 front-running horses. This year, Monkfish and Next Destination going out in front. And then JP's horse coming late, jumping not the greatest and potentially taking home second place. I don't think he'll win it. I will hope he does because I've got him in my bets, but I think Monkfish has got this in the bag if everything goes right. And then race 3, which is the Coral Cup. I've gone for a Nicky Henderson horse. He does like this race. He won it last year with Dan de Compagnie after he managed to blag the courts that he can get minus £3, which helped him definitely in that race. And I've gone for Alart. There is talk from the stable that this horse will be going to this race. He has been campaigned over fences this year. Unfortunately, falling last time out, but probably comes with the best form, and that's beating Fiddler on the Roof over fences. And if you actually look at his handicap mark over hurdles, he's very strong in that. He's so I know they've got problems with him at home. He might not be able to make it, but I'm going to risk it, the fact that he is going to make it, and go for Alart. Champion Chase. I have to be on the Dream. I have to be with Altior. I have to hope that he comes home, wins me a nice amount of money, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, I would say if he wins this, retire him. I wouldn't want to see him next year because I would like him to go out on a high and not risk himself, because the older they get, the more fragile they get. Race 5, I tipped up Potter's Corners last time out. Prep run's been awful. They've been campaigning over hurdles, maybe to save his mark and stuff like that. They might not be able to have Jack on board either, claiming 3 because he think he's haven't got a suspension. But with the English selection not really having a great amount this year, the one I was going to go for has ended up not being in here now. So I'm going to have to go for Potter's Corner, hopefully to pick up the pace, pick up a place. And I'm like you, hopefully the French go home empty-handed. And then race 6, I'm going for another Dan Skelton horse. So I think he will definitely have the hand and the keys to Britain winning this year. And that's Amarola Gold. Very good horse. Stays on very strong at the end. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this horse can come home late on and pick up a nice place, if not win. And I'm going to use my wild card. After a little thought about what to do, I've gone for Sir Gerhard on my wild card. I think it will be potentially the top 3 or 4 in this. I know the odds-on favourites don't have a great reputation in this race, and have only won it, I think, twice of the last 10. So things from left field do sometimes surprise you, especially from last year with Fernie Hollow. That was definitely a surprise, even though Paul Townend was on board. But yeah, I think Kill Crew, I'll take his win with a pinch of salt. You know what I mean? It was very impressive, but maybe the race was just fell apart late on, and he literally just came and picked up the pieces late on, not needing to do anything. So I think this horse has definitely a bit of class in the field and can go on to next year to do hopefully big things. And that's Sir Gerhard. That is my first wild card. Any thoughts on those selections, Dave?
Brave Man's Game. Yeah, I kind of had to go with him, but he's a right good chance. Alart, Nicky Henderson again makes perfect sense. And I'd love to see Altior do it. I would, as a fan of racing, and I haven't backed since in the summer. I was hoping he'd come back to himself, but I fingers crossed Altior can actually win. I'd prefer to see him win than Shakan.
News stemming that they're going to put cheat pieces on him.
That could be a good idea, to be honest. He's gone a bit lazy.
Yeah, so like I say, so hopefully that will spark him up a bit, because he maybe is getting a bit lazy in his old age. But hey, we all get lazy in our old age, don't we? So let's not hold it against him. He's definitely earned all the rewards that he's had for his racing career. Yeah, anything else on the other ones? No. What about Sir Gerhard? Do you think that got a good chance at the Gordon Elliott? Do you think he'll beat?
Yeah, I mean,
he'll beat Kilpue? Because
I like to pick an East Ray one in the bumper, but it's more likely between him and Kilcruff. So
yeah,
be a good race.
Perfect, thank you. Right, let's go on to day 3, which is the day for the Irish. It is the Paddy's Day equivalent of the Cheltenham Festival. I know a lot of you Irish come over here and get very jolly and merry sometimes. But unfortunately, this year you all have to stay at home. And these are the selections for yourself, Dave. So once again, go ahead and tell us about your selections.
Well, I think Envoy Allen in the Marsh was obvious. He should win. There's really nothing in competitiveness to him there. So, and it'll be nice to watch him. He's a great horse. In the Pretemps, I think Imperial Alcazar is definitely going to be a graded chaser. So I think he's actually in off a good mark. He'd be one of my better bets of the whole meeting, the whole festival. The Ryanair, very competitive, hard to choose. But I do think Mellon will run into a place, so I think he's a great each-way price. I should have said Imperial Alcazar is actually obviously a wild card in English horse. The Stayers, another wild card. I do think it's between the top 2. And just with Paisley Park being there, done that and all that, I sided with him, but Time Hill is very good as well. In the plate, Wave of the Sea, Joseph O'Brien. I think he'll be targeting handicaps with his horses. So I give that one a good each way shout. Race 6 of the Thursday, the Mayor's Novice. I went for Sky Ace. It's very open this year. There's no like Willie Mullins short price favourite. I think she's a right good chance. She's always overlooked. And Shark Hanlon, the trainer, hasn't been in great form, but he had a horse run second the other day, so the stable are probably coming back into form. And then race 7, the Kimure. Again, probably one I would have looked for an outsider, but with the purpose of the competition, I was kind of stuck with the Elliott horse, who's been trained by that lady Sneezy now, Run Wild Fred. I probably wouldn't back him per se. He's a bit short for the type of race it is. But for the competition, I had no more wild cards, so I was stuck with him.
That's fine, my friend. Well, I'll give my quick opinion on these races. Envoy Allen goes about saying, if he turns up, I know he's going to be on a lot of people's accumulators all through the year. And maybe even a lot of people backed him straight away as soon as he won the Ballymore, which is a very sensible thing to do, because I think the Marsh was always on the cards for this horse. I know people were talking about the Marsh straight away in March, as soon as he ran the Ballymore, and I don't think anyone at any point has ever thought he would go to the RSA. It's always been the Marsh. He'll turn up there if everything goes his way. I personally can't see him losing, so it's a very strong 5 points for you there. Imperial Alcazar, yeah, great horse. I backed this horse as well, I think at 11s, so I'll be cheering that on as well for you. Haven't picked it for this though. I picked something else because you picked this. I didn't want to go with someone that you've done as well, especially on a wild card. Mellon, if you're looking for a horse to pick up a place, there's no better horse at Cheltenham than Mellon. So yeah, that's good. Could be a good little 3 points for you there. Paisley Park. I'm against Paisley Park on this one. I'm sorry. Love the horse. Would love the fairy tale. I think he's had his fairy tale 2 years ago with the old boy and the owner. I think he backed that horse at 50-1 as well that year. So he definitely got a nice amount of money owning that horse that year. Wave of the Sea. Yes, very good horse. I think I was looking at that horse potentially for the Grand Annual. Very impressed the way he won last time out. Sky Ace, obviously trained used to be trained by Willie Mullins. So if he does win this, Willie could potentially say that he's won all the Mayor's Novice hurdles. But obviously, we all know that he left Willie Mullins' yard for a very, very small price, wasn't it? About £5,000 or so, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very, very small amount, yeah.
And this horse is literally, I've missed out money on this horse. I stuck it in my tracker, and the week it won about 20 to 1, I completely forgot to look at my tracker. And I said to myself, because there was a big, the lady who rode this horse had a big interview, didn't she, after she won like a few races back. And I was like, right, I'm going to get on this time. I missed it and absolutely bolted up like 20 to 1. I was like, oh, damn it. I was gutted. And then Run Wild Fred is the favourite at the moment for the Kinmure. I don't really have much say on the Kinmure. It's not the greatest race of the card. So being a favourite, and I've watched his last runs, I think he does have a great chance for that as well. So, yeah, so I think you actually have quite a strong hand of accumulating points this day. And I'm pretty worried, to be honest, that you might actually be able to make up a few points on that day. So going to day 3, the Irish day with the British selections. Hopefully the British can steal the day away from you. And I've gone for, in the Marsh, Shan Blue. In the Pertemps, Bushy Park. In the Ryanair, Imperial Aura. In the Stayers, Time Hill. In the new Paddy Power Plate, Caribbean Boy. In the Mez Novice, Royal Kahala, which is my wild card. And then in the Kinmure, John Joe O'Neill, who is banging form, who might have trained the winner of the Grand National, which we saw yesterday. Very impressive. Very impressive. You've got to take consideration that Grand National is a completely different course as well. But I think he sits at 6 to 1 now. I think he's definitely a good favourite for that at the moment. Is the saying that I used to hate my parents saying to me when I was younger. I probably still hate this saying now, even though I'm nearly 30, and that's time to get up. That would be my selection for the Kinmure. So I'll just give you my quick thoughts about my races for day 3. Shan Blue, we all know the quality of this horse. I won the Quarto Star at Kempton over on Boxing Day. Very surprised that they went back down in trip with this horse. I thought he had the Browns advisory all over it, but they stepped him back down. Unfortunately, couldn't do it over heavy ground last time out. But we all know is probably no better novice jumper this year than Shan Blue. Arguably, you could say, especially in Britain, definitely. Bushy Park for Philip Kirby. I think if this horse was trained by a more well-known racing trainer, that this would definitely be shorter. I've seen nothing wrong with this horse all year. Has got a hell of a lot of ones to its name, and the way it won last time out, very impressed. So I think that could be very good, especially picking up a place. Everybody that's watched the podcast knows my thoughts about Imperial Aura. This has definitely been the horse for me this year that I've been tracking. All my hopes have been on this horse. Backed it at 22 to 1 off the first show, if you were lucky enough to watch that one. And now sits at 6 to 1. Arguably, his last race has never helped him for this one. Some freak accident happened with his jumping. I don't think Dave Bass or Kim Bailey knew why that happened. I think he would have absolutely hosed up against, especially against a horse called Master Tommy Tucker, and the way he hit the last. So I know he cost me for a lot of money as well that day. I had him in a nice double. So hopefully this horse can recuperate some of that lost money that I could have had. And on the same principle as well, Time Hill has been one of my horses that I've been shouting from the rooftops about this year. I personally think that he will beat Paisley Park. And how I see it going, how I hope it's going to go, is he'll go out from the front as he always does, jump lovely as he always does, and then extends. And we all know Paisley Park is the type of staying horse that hits a flat spot. Arguably, you could say that's what you want from a staying horse, to hit a little bit of a flat spot, but just keep on plugging on. But the difference is this race compared to the last race where he just beat Time Hill, there's going to be a hell of a lot more horses in this race. So he could have a lot more traffic problems. And if he gets caught on the bend, I'm hoping there'll be some traffic in his way and will disturb his route to the finishing line. And hopefully Philip Hobbs and Richard Johnson sat down, went back to the drawing board and figured out a way to beat Paisley Park, because you don't just beat Paisley Park, you have to plan it, because he is that much of a great horse. So hopefully he's going to have too much lengths for Paisley Park to pick up. Caribbean Boy, very impressed with a few of his races. He's been stepped up in trip, and I think this is going to be a good race for him, especially in the weights. I think Royal Kahala is better off in the weights to Rosie's Hollow, who she lost to last time out. So now I think it is more or less confirmed that she's coming here, which I'm very glad. That is my wild card. And then in the Kinmure, it's time to get up for John Joe O'Neill. So let's crack on with day 4, unless you have anything you want to say about those selections.
Royal Kahala has a great chance with the weight turnaround, and she'd be my other bet in the Mayor's Hurdle, my saver. And I think Imperial Aura has a good chance too. Yeah.
Good. That's pleasing to hear. I'm not that worried now as I was a moment ago about day 3. Now we'll move on to day 4. Dave, once again, please give us your input with your selections.
Okay, so in the Triumph, I have gone for Zana here. I was between a few. I like French Seal, but he's obviously not running now. He's after getting injured. I like Tritonic, but obviously my wildcards are gone, so it's kind of forced with Zani here. I know loads of people like him, but I wouldn't be overly enthused. But for the purpose of the competition, we're stuck. Race 2, the County Hurdle. This one might run in the Martin Pipe, so I'm unsure, but going by the betting, I said I'd go for him, Ganapati. I think he's going to be a decent hurdler for Willie Mullins, so he'd a right good chance in that. The Albert Bartlett, Statler is kind of the standout one. Will he stay? You'd hope so. He might have a little bit too much class, because it does turn into a really tough race. There's a few English horses I like. Again, there's a Charlie Longsdon horse, Robin something, but he would be a good each-way alternative. The Gold Cup, obvious Album Photo will not go against him. Champ has his chance, but they all have to beat Album. The Fox Hunters, it came to pass, I think, great chance. Last year I won it off the back of a bad prep. Same this year. The Mayor's Chase, the new race, gone for Ellie May. She looks the obvious one from the Irish standpoint, but I'll be backing Happy Diva each way for her Cheltenham form. And then the last race of the meeting is the Martin Pipe, and I think you have the wrong horse in, but I'll go with my horse. You have the horse there that's running in the Kinmure, but it's again another Gigginstown horse anyway. It's torygraph. There's a few Gigginstown horses in it. Wide Receiver is another one, but I'm liking torygraph for this, as long as he doesn't go for the Albert Bartlett. So Friday's a hard one, because I'm kind of unsure where horses are going, but I'd hope it would kind of turn out that way. But Ellie May, I'd more likely back Happy Diva, so I wouldn't be surprised it's the English one, that one.
There he is. He's in there. I do apologise for that one. But yeah, torygraph for the last race. Okay, I'll give my little opinion on your selections for the Gold Cup day. Zana here, very strong. I know he's got Calixios as well. Well, they did have Calixios in the same yard, haven't any more. And a lot of people were going with Zana here. To be honest, I couldn't split them. And I did a bit of research, and I think it's been a long while since a horse has won the JCB Triumph and hasn't run from January onwards. Normally, these juveniles run a few races, about a month or so before Cheltenham, and this one hasn't run since December. So that's a worrying point for me. I like my juveniles to be active before Cheltenham. Gallipathy, yes, for a Mullins selection, very good horse. Statler, I can't take that one. I don't like it as much as you, to be honest. I don't like Fakira either. If there was a 4-mile hurdle, I'll be backing Fakira. You could argue that it's the Santini of the hurdling world. Album photo, well, that is the dream, isn't it? That's what all you Irish people are hoping for. That's what's going to make you merry and probably miss Saturday morning with a headache because Album photo has won the Gold Cup for a third time. I do have one that I'm going to take on. Album photo. It came to pass. Arguably, prep run hasn't been great this year. It hasn't been point to point in either. It's been in quite competitive company, hasn't it, this year, I think. And the new race, which is the Mares' Chase, Ellie May is definitely a strong favourite in that one. JP, I'm kicking myself, damn, the company's not in this one. But unfortunately, she's going hurdles. And then, yes, torygraph. I did a bit of research into this race, and I think in the last 10 run-ins, Gigginstown have had a placed horse in 7 run-ins, and 7 times. Arguably, they should have won it last year with Column of Fire because he fell at the last and he was going to win, I would say. So, yeah, definitely, if you're looking at a horse in this race, Gigginstown normally target this and have a strong runner. Always normally looks like to get a place as well. So, yeah, I'm very happy with those ones, Dave. They are worrying me a little bit, but I'm sure that my selections on the Friday will get me home, and day 3 will be passing the baton on to day 4 with a few lengths in hand and can kick on, hopefully, all the way to the finishing line. And these are my selections for day 4, the final day. And that is the Triumph, Adagio, the County, Third Time Lucky. And if you're picking a horse in this race, Mullins and Skelton have shared this over the last 6 years. They're currently evens on 3 each. So if you are picking a horse, you'd be silly not to pick a Dan Skelton horse or a Willie Mullins horse. There is arguments that this horse could go to Supreme, but I think the way that Prashima failed to be impressive on Saturday, that Harry will be riding this horse, and then Bridget will probably be riding Kazand. And I think Third Time Lucky has a great shout in this race. I want him to go here more than Supreme. Dan did make the comment that he would rather win a race than come third. So fingers crossed he comes to this race, and 9-1 is a great price. Oh, this is always a hard one to say. Alaphilippe,
yeah. Good horse.
Do apologise, we are missing a P, but I didn't have enough characters in the old bubble to use it. I had to make use of a P. So yeah, Alaphilippe, 12-1 for Fergal O'Brien. I think he does have 2 very strong hands in the handicaps, this race and the per temp. So maybe a cheeky each way double for his two races. You could be quids in. This horse has done nothing wrong. Won very nicely last time out as well. You could argue he was helped by the leading horse falling, but I think this horse would definitely won that race. And I'm going to use my final wild card, Herman and Harin. I know I spoke to Dave a few days ago, and I was thinking Frodon for this race. More heart than head. More the fact that if there was one way to annoy the Irish, and that would be for Bryony Frost and Frodon to win the Gold Cup, and for everything to be made about them too. There'll be that much interviews probably about Bryony Frost and Frodon. They'd probably just skip the Fox Hunters and you wouldn't even be able to see it on ITV. So fingers crossed that doesn't happen. But if I had to pick a British one, I probably would go for Frodon, just because it's more heart over head and the story would be phenomenal. And Frodon, the horse itself, deserves the day in the limelight because he is a great horse. But I'm going for Kemboy at 14-1. I know he's entered into a few, but I heard that Willie Mullins is going for this race and he's going to try and convince the owners. He kicks himself about last year. I know him and I think Danny or David, I can't remember which one was on it. they spoke about it when they came in after the race, and Willie Mullins said he wanted Ken Boy to be dropped in, which proved completely wrong. So this year he's going to be more prominent. I think he carries the best form this year coming into this race. Very impressed by his last 2 runs. Arguably could have easily won the race that a Plus Tard won if he didn't get in a stupid race with Mellon. Very impressed with leading from the front of his last Gold Cup win. I think where was that? Leopardstown, was it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And I think this horse has been very progressive and ran very well this year. And obviously, we all know the quality Album Photo. It is a very, very odd trip, the Gold Cup at Cheltenham, 3 months, yeah. 2.5 and stuff like that. So it's very hard to prep a horse for this race. And this race does seem to be right up Album Photo Street. So, look, we all love a fairy's tale. I'm not bitter. I would like the fairy tale as well, but I think more the fairy tale would be more Willie Mullins winning 3 on the trot than more than Album Photo winning 3 on the trot. We've all seen it before. We're all hoping for that last one, and then the second string comes along and wins. The trainer normally still has the glory, but unfortunately we don't because we back the first string. So that's what I can see this happening. I can see Ken Boy coming along, spoiling the party from all the Album Photo fans. But yet Willie Mullins still gets the glory, which he should deserve. I've gone for Fox Hunters Hazel Hill, 20-1. Didn't run in it last year, but won it the previous year. So I think with course form, this horse has a very good shot. Won very well last time out as well. So I would definitely take a look at that race. And then for the new Mare's Chase, I've gone for Chili Philly. Wasn't too sure what to go for this. I didn't want Annie Mac, to be honest. Just more the connections than anything. Coral owned the horse, and so did Chris Hughes. I don't mind Chris Hughes, but can't really take to him, to be honest. But Chris, if you're watching, hello. I don't mean anything bad. Your horse you do have a beautiful horse in your hand, and she's very classy. She failed miserably last time out though, when she was at Cheltenham. Yeah. And this horse actually raced against Annie Mac last time out. Please, Dave, you've got to go back and watch that race. Anybody at home, you've got to go back. I like Chili. The way this horse fell, I couldn't help but laugh. I'm sorry. It was like watching Tom Daly come off. It literally fell head first and done a somersault. I couldn't believe it. It was literally like she just jumped off a diving board. But the previous runs have been very impressive. She jumped that flight of fence the same position as Annie Mac and could arguably have challenged Annie Mac. Annie Mac did go to win that race, but like I say, go ahead and look at that race. The fall, we don't like to see a horse fall, but we all know she's fine. And the way she fall was definitely one to watch. And for the last race, I've gone for Enemy Coast Ahead. Now, picture this, everyone. Yeah, picture this. It's all down to the last race. Okay. Dave's just a little bit in front. Maybe 2 points in front. You can see it now. He reckons he's not going to be wearing this briny frost top. He reckons I'm going to be wearing my leprechaun hat. And out of nowhere comes Enemy Coast Ahead for his favourite trainer, Ollie Murphy, to come over, steal the show for Britain, and make him wear the briny frost top. Now that is what we all want to see.
I give you about 10-1 that he'll have a winner at the festival, all the races. He hasn't a hope.
Hasn't a hope, no.
But I hope it stays fine for you.
I don't know. I've looked back on the videos and stuff like that. I think this horse isn't a bad option, really. 16-1.
Probably not, but the trainer doesn't know how to change Cheltenham winner, so it's all on like.
When I was going through it, I thought, which is the one I could stick the knife in deepest when it comes to this as well. So I thought,
if it comes to it and that horse beats me, I'm just giving up.
There we are, ladies and gentlemen. If this horse wins, Dave is giving up. No, but we don't want that. Of course we don't. But fingers crossed. For me, I do want this to win. So that is my selection for the final day. We all look forward to Gold Cup Day, but we all never want it to finish. Do you have any thoughts on those selections?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough day. I don't think the Triumph is just as easy as Zanahiyr and Tritonic. So Adagio is nice shout, good form. Dan Skelton in the county, yeah. And I like that Alaphilippe. He's tough. You need something tough in that Albert Bartlett.
Yeah.
But I'm liking this. It's a nice little side option that we're having here, a little competition. So I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, so am I. And everybody at home, if you want to get on with a friend, maybe chuck a few quid in the pot and do the same concept, go ahead. Let us know. Let us know on Twitter. Let us know in the comments if you're going to give it a shout. I'm more than happy to see how people got on. I know I haven't spoken to you about doing this, but I thought anyway, we might as well do it. Is there any other horses at the top of your head that you would like to give a mention in any of the other races?
I'll give you two, just 2 seconds.
Oh, that's fine. I'll tell you what, I'll go first because I have a couple.
Yeah, you fire away. I'll take my two and then I'll give them out once I find them.
For the Mayor's Novice Hurdle, I will give a shout out to Martello Sky. Not really the horse that stands out, but if you watch her last 2 races, the way she finishes to the line, she finishes like a train and looks like she'd be very hard to stop. Very impressed by her last 2 runs. Probably gets her head down and just pings to the last. I'd say that. Massively left field for the Champion Hurdle. If it gets off first time and we don't have a stupid false start, maybe give a shout to Not So Sleepy at 50-1. Only if there's trouble. If there's trouble in behind him, he potentially, especially on good ground, could be at the front and keep on for maybe 3rd place. Is there anything else? Dandy Mag is definitely a selection for the Irish, for the Pertemps. And do I have anything else? Potentially for the Boodles would be Tiupu for myself under Gordon Elliott. Well, not under Gordon Elliott's name, but a Gordon Elliott horse. Yes. Any more selections for yourself you just want to say to the ladies and gentlemen at home?
So in the Albert Bartlett, that horse is called Castle Robin, and it's about 50-1. You might get even more than that, 66s. He's won a handicap around Cheltenham. He's just tough. He's tough and slow, and that's usually what you need to win the Albert Bartlett. I do think Happy Diva will be trained for the Mayor's Chase to the day, or if she goes back to the plate, she should really run a decent race in whatever race she's in. And I have one more. Indefatigable. That's a hard word to say. She won the Martin Pipe last year. She should have a good each way shout in the Mayor's Hurdle. I think she's going for this year. So she's going up in grade. She won that handicap last year. I think she's waiting for a bit better ground. She wouldn't really run well on that heavy ground. So I'd give her an each way shout. Concertista is the most likely winner, but there you go.
Yeah, very happy with the selections. Maybe I might tip up as well Calixios for the Triumph for an Irish selection. Like I say, I personally think that the Triumph can go to a bit more of a staying type, even though we saw that a very speedy horse like Goshen would have won it last year. But
I would agree, yeah.
I don't know how people can split them. I prefer Clixios. Last time it had to do a lot more as well on worse ground. So as you can see at the bottom of the screen, I've just put up a few selections anti-post that me and Dave have picked out. But that's it, Dave.
Woody, it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for everything you've done to help me out the past few months regarding this. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you. For people that don't know, bigger things are on the horizon. I've got appointments with graphic people and all that sort of stuff. So potentially going to be starting up a podcast by myself, which I will get people like Dave on, and potentially, hopefully, lads from the finishing line and other people as well regarding different sports like football, UFC, all that sort of stuff as well. But regarding this podcast, this is potentially the last one until, I'd say, October. We kick off again, don't we?
Yeah, I'll be back for the road to Cheltenham and the Cheltenham Roar once again.
Yeah, the Cheltenham Roar, not the road to Cheltenham. That's a different one.
That's, yeah.
Let's not plug somebody else's. But like I say, we are going to miss the Cheltenham Roar this year. There will be no crowds, unfortunately. But hopefully we have compensated for that loss. If you do like the show, please give it a like. Please give it a share. Drop a comment as well. I'm more than happy to listen to anybody, and I hope everyone enjoys it. Once again, Dave, I'm very happy with how this went. Hope you are, and let's get out there, and fingers crossed I bring it home for the British.
No chance.
No chance.
Ozzy, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Got to save the Queen. Take care.